Hey Ravens fans, I'm Garrett Downing. This is Ryan Mink. We're out here at the practice field. Mini camp just wrapped up. Veterans and rookies were able to get out here together. We see what you got just a little bit. This was kind of a taste, the preview, the appetizer before training camp coming up here in a few weeks. But guys looked good, and there's a lot of questions about this on our Facebook wall. The first question today comes from Ali. Wants to know, how does Joe Flacco look? Compare him right now to how he looked at this point last season.
Well, I think he looks a lot better right now than he did last season. And to me, he just looks a lot more sharp. He looks more decisive. He just looks more in control and comfortable. And I think that, there's a lot of things that play into that. He's going into his 5th season, that, just more experience. 5 years under Cam Cameron. He knows the system extremely well. And I think Coach Caldwell has had an effect on him so far. I think with his fundamentals, everything just looks a little bit smoother. He looks more in control. He's had more experience with these receivers. To me, Joe Flacco looks head and shoulders even above where he was at this point last year.
Yeah, he has been one of the guys that coaches and players have been raving about. I've talked to Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden. Both of them have said, Joe looks good. He looks sharp right now. I thought it was really telling the other day. We were practicing out here in a driving rain. I mean, it was about the worst conditions you could have outside of practicing in a blizzard. And after practice, the coaches and players said, even in that weather, Joe Flacco looks good. He was on target. He was accurate. He was getting the throws out quickly. And that's what you want out of a quarterback like that. He looks sharp at this point of the season, and he's also kind of being a leader right now. He's been here throughout the offseason, wants a long-term contract, but even with those negotiations going on, he says, you know what, it's important for me to be here. I'm the driver of this offense, and I'm going to make sure that I'm a face here and getting all of these other younger guys better.
And to me, it's really a big storyline going forward.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's development is huge, and I think that's what's going to turn this offense into a top 10 offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let's move over to the other side of the ball. Troy Linton is asking about defense. He wants to know, how do the corners and specifically that secondary look?
Well, it's been really some good battles between the offense and Flacco versus that secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really been going back and forth with each other.
They are competitive.
Oh, for sure. They're jawing constantly.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the secondaries looked really good, even without Ed Reed and without Kerry Williams practicing in 11-on-11s. He's still just doing individual drills. But to me, it's looked pretty strong, and that's because they just have a lot of talent and even experience now. I mean, you've got Ladarius Webb, who's obviously one of the best in the league, and you've got Jimmy Smith, who I think is growing, developing. He's going to be a really top-flight cornerback in this league, perhaps even this year. He could be a starter. And to me, I really like the competition, even at dime. I mean, to me, you've got Corey Graham and Danny Gore, who are two excellent backup guys. And I just think that these cornerbacks are one of the best units in the league.
Yeah, it's a very deep group. And I would withhold judgment, though, because you have two critical pieces who haven't been out there on the field. Kerry Williams is coming back from an injury, and Ed Reed hasn't been out here yet. Both of those guys were starters last year. One of them's headed to the Hall of Fame. So add those two guys back.
Sure, he'll be all right. He'll do well. I'm pretty sure.
Add those two guys back to the mix, and it just gets even better. I think this is going to be one of the toughest competitions throughout training camp. I think it's going to be a very good group and one of the strong points of this defense. All right, another person that a lot of people are asking about is the veteran linebacker Ray Lewis, and Steven wants to know, how does he look? Is he a little bit quicker this year? I heard he slimmed down a little bit.
Yeah, he does look to be moving around a little bit better, a little bit more with ease. And what we really want to see in future practices, because we only really saw 3, we're going to want to see him running down that field with those tight ends and things like that. But from the limited time that we saw him, I thought he looked really good. Still punching through that offensive line a couple of times. And he's going to be asked to cover guys like Aaron Hernandez of New England. And it's just becoming a tougher assignment these days for a guy like Ray Lewis. He was used to taking on guys with big old neck rolls and huge shoulder pads. I mean, remember the shoulder pads that Ray Lewis used to wear?
Right.
I mean, they're massive. And so he doesn't have to do that anymore. So I think it's really interesting to see how he's adapted, and it looks good so far.
Yeah, the game has changed, and he's changing with it. He's heading into his 17th season, but just by looking at him, you'd have no idea. He looks like he's in great shape. His workouts are legendary, and he came in here just ready to go. And, says if the NFL's changing, it's becoming more of a passing league, then I'll change with it. I want to keep playing. I want to be on the field every down. And if I have to cover tight ends, then I have to cover tight ends, and I need to slim down a little bit and add some speed. And that's what he's done. And I think that bodes well moving forward. So, all right, that's all the time that we have this week. But we got rookie school continuing next week and then heading into training camp here in the next couple of weeks. So that's it for now. But Ravens fans, make sure you keep it locked right here on BaltimoreRavens.com.